Hey guys, today we're going to do something a little bit different, sort of. So recently I purchased like a ton of these little used toys from an online thrift shop, and I've been trying to figure out, what to do with them. And I've got some funky ideas, of course, but as I was designing a creature for Valentine's Day, spoiler alert, I realized that I have a ton of My Little Ponies and it would make the perfect base to customize for this project. Seriously, I just have to like chop off its head and we're good. Anyway, so here's my little potential headless horse. And to all of my Little Pony fans out there, don't fear. This is in fact a Gigo winter pony, or Gigo? Gigo? I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyway, it's like some vintage off-brand, and you can buy on eBay for like $1 a dozen, so do not fear. So here she is in all of her cuteness. The white is, well, not so white anymore, and her head has like these little potholes that I'm pretty sure were not supposed to be there, so that's concerning. I do love the color of the mane, she's got that going for her, but oh my god, I do not know what somebody put in her hair or what she's gotten into, so we're just gonna move past that. So I got the hair dryer out so that I could just warm her head up and pop it off, but it actually just popped off on its own, so no comment. Choppity chop here. Okay, so I guess that was technically a comment. Whatever. Okay, so I probably should have taken some sandpaper to the body at this point, but that would require me thinking ahead, and that's not something that I did. But you know what? Spoiler alert, it did work out, so that's fine. Anyway, onto the head. So I grabbed the thickest wire that I had within reach, which was not very thick to be honest, so I had to layer it up a few times. It took some twisting and wrangling, but I was able to make it look ridiculous. I heated a safety pin so that I could put little holes into the neck area and then stick the wires inside of it so that it had like a good grip for it, and then I slathered the whole area in hot glue, which includes my hands, of course. Anyway, then I bunched up some aluminum foil around the wire and I pretended to create a heart shape thing. Cool stuff. Anyway, after I bulked it out, is that even considered bulky? I don't know. Anyway, I grabbed some of this clay. I've never used this before. I know like everybody recommends it. Not gonna lie, not a fan. Is that blasphemy? I sort of hated it. It was like very grainy, kind of textury, and it felt like paper. It felt like I was literally sculpting with paper, and that's coming from somebody who literally makes paper clay. Anyway, I just kept trying to like smooth it out, and the texture was just not what I was wanting to work with. I really should have just switched clays, but that would require, well, thinking. Anyway, I decided to work with it, and instead of making an actual like, 3D-ish heart shape, I decided to kind of wrap my armature and make it look more like a fabric wrap. I actually like the way it worked out in the end, but still not a huge fan of the clay. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong. If I am, let me know in the comments, because I have a whole block of this stuff and I don't want to avoid it if I don't have to. Anyway, instead of, fighting all the lumps and folds in it, I just made more of them and made it look like it was on purpose. And I even added little holes in the back of the head so I could like stitch them up later. Next, I just popped in my pre-made eyeball from a shop. Anyway, I created these little eyelids, and then I made some, fabric strips to make a little X over the second eyeball area. I didn't have any teeth pre-made, so I used this chance to make some teeth to the side, and then I popped in wires as like placeholders that I could put the teeth in later. And then I did the same with horns, so I'll deal with those later. Off camera, I also added a tail and some little like fluffy hoof things down towards the feet, which were completely pointless because you can't even see them later, but it's me. They don't call me lady of perfect pre-planning for nothing. Just kidding, just pretend I never said that. Anyway, so now as for the gesso, I applied a very lazy coat over everything and turned what was white into more white. You're welcome. Anyway, there's a lot of different textures and mediums here, so it was a good chance. So the gesso just preps all the different surfaces to be able to paint on. Again, probably should have sanded over the body, but it did work out, so I'm not too concerned. But next time I will probably try to prep it a little better. You may have noticed that I did nothing to save the eyeball from the gesso, and that is because I don't like dealing with tape. Cutting tape is time consuming, and that's not something I like spending my time on. I would much rather just take an X-Acto knife and scrape off any paint that actually hit the eye. There, I said it. Judge me. Tape is boring. Do as I say, not as I do, or whatever it is. Anyway, so we're finally ready for some paint, and I chose black for his cute little face because I wanted to try something new. So while I was painting him, his totally not obvious name Val, definitely not inspired by Valentine's Day, of course, came to mind. Now, I decided that Val is a vegetarian because honestly, those teeth are not chewing anything. But Val enjoys frolicking through meadows. Unfortunately, he is super allergic to all flowers. So for Valentine's Day, please give him chocolates instead. Thank you. Now, I finally must confess, he's addicted to reality shows, and I am just not a fan of them. So he's looking for a good friend that he can share this hobby with. So if you know anybody, you let me know in the comments, all right? Anyway, back to the painting. This was actually a super easy project. You know, basic block for the head, red for the hooves, the horn, the tail, and the mouth, of course. White for the kind of little X, the teeth, pink on the body. Done. I did some dark washes over everything and then hit it with some white on a dry brush. Bada bing, bada boom. Nothing too crazy. I wanted the details, you know, when I did, you know, the fabric head, I really wanted to like it to look like fabric, and so I actually pressed in canvas into areas to kind of bring out a little bit of that texture. So I wanted that to come out, and I didn't want it to be painted details. So painting was really easy this time. So for the last step, for now, not really the last step, I'm applying a nice coat of varnish over everything except the body, basically, to kind of protect everything, really, except the eye. The eye and the body, we didn't varnish, but I added a couple coats there. And then I found this cool red wire, and I used that to create the little stitching on the back and those little holes that I mentioned. So it's like thread on his head. Hey, I've rhymed. That was lame. Anyway, for the actual last step, I took a little bit of this pink yarn and I cut it up into these tiny little pieces so it was more like fluff. And then I used tweezers to just sort of shove, like I painted glue onto the body and then just shove some of the fluff on top of those areas and created a fuzzy body. So here's the before and after. Honestly, I love how this came out so much. Val is just like ridiculous enough to be adorable. And it was really fun kind of like combining, you know, a thrift store makeover with like a bunch of my favorite mediums and techniques. You know, there was like clay and then painting, there was like adding fur onto it. It was a fun little mishmash of mediums. I'll definitely be customizing more My Little Ponies. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and help me figure out like what is Val's BFF's personality like, because he's got to have a buddy. That's just how it works. So let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks again. Love you guys. Bye.